But all right, great. On that point, guys, we're gonna move on to the finale of the show, the last little section. So this is really, really huge news that came out. Basically, earlier this week, Nintendo had their, as with Sony, how they had their, the end of the fiscal year happens, and now all these companies are coming out and they're saying, what's their status and whatnot. And so Nintendo has provided updates with a ton of stuff that's going to be happening at their annual earnings that happened earlier this week. So I'll quickly go through some of the bigger points, and then we'll kind of put the magnifying glass over some of the other points. But basically, the biggest news is that Nintendo confirmed that their upcoming console, which is codenamed NX, will launch worldwide on March of 2017. So yeah, it's going to be coming out in March now. Everyone thought it was going to come out in November. I'm not honestly too surprised it's coming out in 2017. I think that just follows the Nintendo cycle that they've always done. But yeah, they did confirm it's going to be global. And on top of that, dude, they also announced that Zelda for Wii U has been delayed to next year as well. But they said that it's also going to be released on NX. So we have a Twilight Princess on our hands here. Which, if you guys don't recall, Twilight Princess originally announced for GameCube, took a long-ass time to come out. When it finally came out, they said, oh, it's also coming out in Wii. And the Wii was the better version. So basically, But their official reason is they're trying to, quote, improve the quality of the game. So take that as you would. So those are the two biggest news. Nintendo, I mean, there's like a big press release here with all their other stuff. I'm not going to get too much into detail. We'll kind of pick and choose. But they reveal that Mitomo's done very well, that their next mobile... their next mobile apps are going to be a Fire Emblem game and an Animal Crossing game, which is pretty big. The NX news and the Zelda news came out, and then this big news also came out, dude, where they said, this is what they said. This is a quote from the press release. In regards to E3, Nintendo changes its approach to the show every year. This June, Nintendo will focus its attentions on the upcoming game in the Legend of Zelda series. The Wii U version of the game will be playable for the first time on the E3 show floor, and it will be the only playable game Nintendo presents at the show in order to provide attendees a complete immersion. Additional information about Nintendo's E3 plans will be announced in the future. That is a fucking quote, dude. So Nintendo is only gonna have Zelda on the floor. Are they out of their minds? Like, what the fuck, man?
Chris, have you ever seen Of Mice and Men? Or read the book?
Oh no, but I've heard of it.
Yeah, but basically, I'm going to spoil that. But basically, George takes Lenny out and shoots him in the back of the head. in the back.
Hey, Lenny! You mean Lenny from The Simpsons?
Yeah. No, Lenny from the actual...
Why'd you kill me? I had to.
Well, basically, this is Nintendo going out to shoot fucking Sony in the head and shoots its own foot off with a shotgun. Like, it's just... honestly, like, I can't understand what the fuck is going on here. This entire, like, fiscal report, everything. Basically, it's like the NX comes out next year. We've got a confirmed month or date. It's not at E3, the biggest presence, the event where non-gaming industry covers gaming and makes it relevant to build up hype at. It's not there, so it's probably going to be a very shitty Nintendo Direct. They're going to announce any specific details or anything bigger on the picture of the NX, which is in itself absurd. Zelda is the only game on the show floor. They have Pokemon Sun and Moon coming out, Paper Mario, and a couple of other games coming out. That is ridiculous because it's a demo now on the show floor. It's the only Nintendo game there. People will go and play it and then they'll leave. That's all they care about. Zelda is no longer a holiday season title. The people that bought the Wii U wanted Zelda. It's like buying PS4 and waiting for Uncharted 4 and it comes out on PS4.5, 6, 7, 8, whatever. Along with PS4 at the end of the cycle, and people are like, the flagship game of the series hasn't come out on the actual console in time. The biggest slap to Wii U owners in like
Yeah.
the longest history, and kind of proven to the point where people who actually bought a Wii U should go and fucking throw it in the forest and burn it into a
Uh,
million pieces. But like,
it's
what do you
terrible.
say to this? Like the Mitomo thing's not even a good success because it says 10 million people have like experienced it, but that's not how many
Yeah.
users you have. It's not like
Yeah.
Rocket League's users. Psyonix tweets regularly saying we have 8 million users live now on Rocket League. That's
Yeah.
people playing it and currently still interested in it. I play Rocket League, but I don't play it as much anymore. But they're just saying 10 million people have experienced it. It's the first Nintendo app. I downloaded it just to see what was going on, but I haven't touched it since.
Right.
Like it's not something to be proud of, but like Nintendo's completely gone off the fucking rail here
Dude,
of what they're kind of suggesting and everything else.
it's like seeing your best friend make really bad choices and you're like, "Oh god, but do I say anything though? I mean, I should, right? Like, but I mean, he's his own person. He should find out on his own, but fuck. Like it's bad, man. I mean, I don't know how to even look at I mean, I think what Nintendo is really trying to do is just they're going to use this year as a cleansing year. They're just going to burn out their assets. Like we know that there's a couple of Wii U games coming out, like that awesome Atlas game that's a Fire Emblem crossover is coming out. That one actually looks really fucking good. But people are already bitching about that. And what's it called? And then there's a couple of 3DS games. There's a Paper Mario game I think that's coming out on Wii U. I mean, you could tell they're just releasing kind of like, for lack of a better word, like mediocre stuff, just to kind of keep people like, like, oh, I bought this system, I feel okay buying it, like shit like that. I don't know where they're going with this, man. This is really,
It's
it's a
it's
strange,
just
it's a strange thing.
yeah, it kind of says a lot about Iwata dying and kind of like how it has completely the cookie has crumbled
Yeah,
to the point where you don't really have an idea of what it is because now even though you want to sell the NX to people in the Wii U, people who bought the Wii U are going to feel more betrayed than ever. The fact that they barely got fucking anything for their system. They got a few decent exclusives, but not enough to warrant it. And funnily enough, as well, there's a chart where it shows the top. I think in that press release, it shows the top 20 selling Wii U games,
yeah,
or games just in general, and almost all of them are first party games. No
yeah,
third party support anywhere. Nintendo has literally zero, next to nothing's third
yeah,
party support. Third party is a big seller, man. And we were just talking about half the news that we talked about. Maybe Uncharted 4 was predominantly a lot of it, but Call of Duty is one of the biggest sellers. There is no influence from that on there. No FIFA, no
yeah. No,
these games aren't really got a huge fan base, and you're gonna suffer from it. And
yeah.
like they don't understand it because Nintendo Direct, yes, you aim for people who have Nintendo consoles. It's million. It's kind of like
You're
homey and
so
kind of like
you're so pissed right now.
it's just annoying because like everything has gone backwards. It's like, yeah, Nintendo Direct's a cool idea. You have them monthly or like whatever, and you focus on certain things. But only people who care about Nintendo look at those. It's not like being at the
Yeah,
big gaming conventions. You are still a big player in the gaming conventions, but they don't really want to be that anymore, which is kind of worrying because the fact that. That's why Sony eats it up though, because Sony just has to deal with Microsoft. It doesn't even have to
yeah.
deal with Nintendo
No,
anymore.
Nintendo is like,
To be honest, they're probably just eyeing up the point where they can buy their exclusives. At one point, when Nintendo runs out of money, like it's
I
just probably what they're
mean,
thinking. Sony, because it's like, you know what, we'll keep the money aside and we could just buy that IP.
yeah, we'll just buy them up. I mean, dude, it's really it's getting to the point where, and I was looking at the sales. I looked at like a comparison sales of like, how Nintendo consoles have done since NES, and like you look at NES, and I think NES sold like 56 million or 58 million. That was huge at the time. And then like Super Nintendo was like 42, and that's still good, but it was a big drop off. It's still good, right? And then like
Yeah,
N64 was like 36 or 33, and you're like, okay. GameCube was like 22 million, and they considered that really bad. And then bam, Wii was like 102 million or something like that. It was in the hundreds. Like that console sold so well, and Nintendo was almost given a second chance. And dude, it is really sad to see immediately after that you see Wii U 12.8 million, less than the GameCube, meaning that they learned nothing from the Wii. And like, or I guess yeah, no, they didn't learn anything from the Wii. And they tried to like use tablet controls and all this stuff. And now, NX is coming out, the supposed successor. There's so many rumors that's a 2-in-1 device, which I hope it is, like, and all this other stuff. And I'm really hoping that console kicks off and does well. I really want it to do well because, dude, I'm like afraid of Nintendo's future after that. I don't think they can have another 12.8 million units sold. Because look, like you just mentioned, third-party people are like, 12.8 million. Fuck that. We're not gonna make. And plus, it's older tech, so we have to devote our time to making a shittier version. Fuck that. I could just make a PS4, PC, Xbox One version, and we're done.
Yeah, and you can put it on multiple platforms. Yeah. That's the entire point of like the worrying part with Nintendo, because like there is no real sense of purpose or drive in the kind of company. They won't fold because they've got like other merchandise and they can run the fucking Pokemon trade and everything else because they can put TV shows out, movies, amiibos. Like the revenue will increase and shit like that, and they might just go into toy manufacturing and shit like that. But like the long term success of a console is not happening with this because like. Yeah. Where the appeal is and where the marketing is, there's nothing happening. They are so narrow-minded, the fact that it's like, do you remember last year we were talking about an E3, Reggie was coming out and saying, oh yeah, this isn't that brilliant, PSVR is not the future, and like kind of like such negative thinking at a point where people are ready to embrace the future. People are excited about PlayStation VR. Just because the Virtual Boy was a big failure doesn't mean that PSVR is going to be the backward step. It's the next step forward because it's huge in the gaming ecosystem, because people are building games specifically for PSVR. It's come years and distances in terms of technology, but with Nintendo, it's just like you look at it and you look at this though, and the funny part is because we've recorded the podcast on Thursday, we got Sony's finance reports compared to this, and it says the different directions. The hardcore gamers are the hardcore gamers. Look at what they want in gaming. This is why Sony has drifted, and recently you've seen it at E3. They've gone and sided with like Destiny to get exclusive content. They've done what Microsoft was doing with Xbox 360 early in the days, to that early access content, because they realised, yes, we can put first party support up. Then a lot of people will have that appeal of, I want to come out and buy a PS4 because of Uncharted. But they also have a Call of Duty, they also have a FIFA. They need to kind of have that incentive. Why should you play it on PlayStation over Xbox? And they've really hammered that home. They've made partnerships. They are a big player. They are controlling the industry right now, and I'm going to flat out say that Sony is in full driver's seat now to control the industry. Into games are putting out and everything else. Like, it was one point Microsoft, it's now Sony. Sony has completely taken hold of the industry, and Nintendo has completely taken a sidestep. And it's kind of like, I don't understand what Nintendo's doing though, because it's not the fact that they have to be the biggest player in the industry. It's the fact that they've alienated so many people, and the kind of their entire reputation is sinking and plummeting at a fast pace. Because I would be surprised if you're a Wii U owner and you go and buy an NX, because why would you buy that? Because you've had literally next to nothing, and the big launch game of the holiday season is now on NX. Yeah. So it's like, what's the point? it's like, come on, like what?
You know, if you think about it,
came out.
If you think about it, they've already released their big game for Wii U this year, and that was Star Fox Zero, and that didn't get great reviews either. Because, like, what is it, Paper Mario? I wouldn't say that's a huge IP. It's a great game, but not huge, you know?
Yeah, it'll be a good game, and it'll be like Bayonetta, where it turns heads, but it's not enough to sell a console.
Exactly.
And it's kind of like, as I say again, I'm going to say it leaves a lot to be desired for the console to buy it. I have no incentive to buy a Wii U. I have the other consoles, but I'm not going to buy it because I'm like, what am I going to play on it? It'll just collect dust on the top of my shelf. I can put 100, 200 quid onto it, and I'm just going to never play it because I'm like, what's the appeal for it?
When that console, and that's another thing, they never did a price cut. Can you believe that? That thing is still selling for like $300 or something. Yeah, when that system, when they try to liquidate sales on that, and they like, it's going to be like the Dreamcast all over again, where you're going to see like fucking, we'll throw in like 5 games, $100, just buy it. Yeah. When you see that, I'm going to tell people, buy a Wii U at that point, because you're going to get like a cheap fucking system with so many fucking great games. But as an investment, was the problem. Like, Wii U was not an investment. I mean, I have a lot of games on that system, and I love them all. They're pretty good. I don't think there's one Wii U game I own where I'm like, oh, this is garbage. Like, I don't think so. But like, that doesn't speak, volumes. Like it doesn't mean like it's something that I'm like, man, this is my console of choice. Not at all.
Yeah, but like, I mean, the Nintendo seal of approval and getting good games like it's all right, and whatever else you can set up for Nintendo's argument. But Sony just has a partnership with second-party developers. Yeah, we have people like Ready at Dawn coming and making Order 86. Yeah, it didn't really do like the justice in the game, but people bought it. They rode the hype train. And to be honest, if Sony's want to make another partnership to do another game on it, they're not going to really lose much on it because the Order wasn't the next big IP. But they will look at stuff like Until Dawn and like, you know what, we might make another partnership with Supermassive Games because it's like there's a potential there to kind of make another exclusive, which will be a big kind of property. And maybe next time when we do marketing, we can put more momentum behind it and sell it. But with like Nintendo, there's no strategy, there's no clear message being sent, no signals. This is the exact same as the Wii U. Do you remember they kind of complained when it's like people don't understand the Wii U? Yeah, you never sold it to them because people thought the Wii U was a gamepad. People just thought the gamepad was an addition to the Wii.
Yeah.
But it's like Xbox One is the successor to Xbox 360. People don't think that's the original Xbox, though.
Yeah,
they know it's the evolution to the 360 because Microsoft drove that message.
Yeah, it was marketed well. Yeah, no, Wii U, dude, it was so marketed badly. Everybody thought it was just the gamepad, and that you bought that and connected it to your Wii. That's what everybody thought.
But it's like 2 years ago, I think at E3 we were talking about like with James and other people. Like one of the developers, I think they were doing like a Yoshi session or something like Yoshi's Woolly Yarn, whatever else. The developer was talking about how boss battles are like the key to this game and like it's the most important thing to game. I'm like, how backwards is that? No developer thinks that boss battles are almost irrelevant in some games. Like, they just are, because, like, that's not game design anymore. Like, look at MGS5. It's been stripped of its boss battles, but is it a bad game? No. It's a great game, because it still has those great moments that kind of, like, really succeed just as, like, that kind of thing where it's like, yeah, I'm going to face the next boss now, and the anticipation of that. When you fight Sahelanthropus, it comes out of nowhere, and you're like, oh, shit, this is, like, the biggest boss battle of the game I haven't really experienced in a while, and, like, thrown right in the middle of something.
Yeah, but, like, I think mechanics are key to a game, personally. If the mechanics don't work, everything is fucked. So yeah.
Well, with like the entire report, though, I think I'm going to close off as well in a minute because I'm done with this. But like,
you're venting, dude. We're all hurt.
Because the thing is, though, everyone's hurt though because everyone wants a Nintendo console, but there's not enough reason to buy a Nintendo console.
Right.
And the people who are running the talk just don't understand what people want. It's taken them years to put like Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow on the eShop on the 3DS. They should be the first 3 games that went on the 3DS eShop to build momentum behind other games coming on the eShop and kind of building that kind of incentive to have the console, to have something. You have to have reason to buy something. Look back at the podcast we talked about with the greatest games lineup in Xbox history. Sony beat them in that lineup. They had no exclusives. They had the Uncharted Nathan Drake collection and Until Dawn, compared to Rise of the Tomb Raider, Halo 5, Forza, fucking who knows whatever else it was. Like, it was just that kind of thing. What showed the point was, like, people want something to sell it. Sony have a great marketing team behind everything. There's a clear message behind everything. PS4.5 is that thing where they haven't talked about it because it's probably big, but with PSVR, this is the price. You need a PlayStation camera. You need a PS Move. It can do this. It can do that. Our future games aren't just tied to PSVR. We want to support PlayStation games. Nintendo doesn't like that. And that's the kind of worrying part about what it is.
They don't, Nintendo, dude, they're a shadow of their former self. I really don't know what their future is. The only thing I could hope is that whatever NX is, well, first of all, I hope that whatever NX becomes is something that makes sense. I hope it's not another fucking gimmicky thing. And number 2, I hope that is successful for them. And if it is successful, I hope that they don't, if they get a fucking third chance, I hope they don't fuck it up like they did with the Wii, post Wii launch. But yeah, man, other than that, I mean, I don't know what to expect from them anymore. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they, end up, like, I think Nintendo will always be making games. I think that much is very clear. My question is, where are they going to be making games? Because now they're rolling out to mobile. Now they're experimenting with releasing stuff that's not on a Nintendo hardware. I mean, I think that's way too early to talk, but like, I really just hope at the end of the day, they make good choices. But anyway, that's all.
Yeah.
I think we'll wrap the show at that point. Like, we could be for hours.
Yeah, probably.
But I think that concludes this week's episode of the Gamer Headline Show. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, guys, at TGH Show. And be sure to like our Facebook page, The Gamer Headlines Show, for up-to-date episodes from Gamer Headlines' official podcast. Additionally, The Gamer Headlines Show can be found on Podbean, Stitcher, iTunes, YouTube, and of course right here at GamerHeadlines.com. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and we'll see you next week.
See you later.
Feed.